Good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you for joining me on another episode of Read Me Live. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and we have an incredible show for you today. I have a very special guest, Dr. Gloria. Good morning, Dr. Gloria. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifah. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you. And one of the things that I love is how far we've come as a people, as far as a society. When I started building websites and
Mm.
doing, working my magic back in the 90s, people said if you don't leave the house, you're lazy. It doesn't matter how much money you make, you have to go to work. So
Mhm.
now to see a telehealth psychologist, these times have changed.
It has changed, and thanks to COVID, you would not think that a disease would lead to such dramatic changes, but it has led to those changes.
Yes. So prior to COVID, were you going out? Clients were coming to meet with you?
Sure, absolutely. Prior to COVID, I had two offices.
Mm. So what do you prefer? Which one do you prefer?
It is, there are advantages and disadvantages of each one.
Okay.
So you can, I believe you can only do adults online. You really can't engage with teenagers or
Mhm.
children online because there's so much action that needs to take place. And with adults, you miss all of the action that's taking place in their body. Like
Mhm.
right now, I wouldn't know what you're doing with your hands or whether you're jiggling your feet, right? So you have to ask those questions sometimes. What's happening in your lower body? What are you
Mhm.
feeling
Mhm.
in the parts of you that I can't see on the screen? And those are important parts because we contain information in
Mhm.
our bodies. So if you were kind of jiggling your foot like that, I would miss that tension. I'd miss that anxious response, and I couldn't be curious about it. So there's a disadvantage, but it's such an advantage on the other side for the
Mhm.
adult coming to therapy. They don't have to leave their office or their home. They don't have to drive an hour and find parking, have therapy, and then drive back to work. So it's so much more convenient for the adult.
Do you feel that people are more comfortable and more willing to speak with you in telehealth appointments?
That could be possible because they're typically in their own space, right? Their own office, their own home. So they're surrounded by things that are very familiar to
Mhm.
them. So there could be much more comfort. They can also move around in a different way, right? I'm talking to an adult, they decide they want a cup of coffee, they get up, they have their headphones on, they walk into the kitchen, they're still doing work, but they've decided they want to have a cup of coffee while they're working. So it is an advantage for adults in particular. You can do some work with teenagers
Mhm.
as well, but my preference, I think, with teens and kids would still be to see the whole body in an office.
Okay. And so what type of people do you treat? Do you have to only treat people who have been referred from someone else, people who are going through something and they're like, you know what, I need to talk to someone? What would bring someone to Dr. Gloria?
Any adult
Okay.
who has a need to seek support and really engage in examining themselves.
Mhm.
So any adult is fair game. It could be that you just have kind of an immediate need to process a decision. It
Mhm.
could be that you have a long term difficulty that you've never taken seriously. It could
Mhm.
be that you have a trauma history and that you're now ready to take a deeper dive into that trauma history. Quite often, it's couples coming with
Mhm.
conflicts and difficulty in their relationship. So it runs the gamut. Sometimes it's people kind of seeking guidance about what do I do next with my work. I'm not happy with what I'm doing, but I don't know kind of how to regroup and find something that's going to be more challenging or more interesting for me. So adults come with all kinds of needs and interests.
Okay. Now, do you feel in 2025 there's less of a stigma for people
Oh,
who,
much, much less. Yeah, people are much more willing even to talk with their friends
Mhm.
about, my therapist said,
Okay.
or I have this wonderful therapist that I'm working with. It's really much more open at this point. That used to be something that you would hide if you went to therapy. And now it's more of a very casual conversation, this is what I'm learning in therapy, or this is the challenge my therapist gave
Mhm.
me. And that's wonderful, right? That we are taking our mental health
Mhm.
seriously
Mhm.
and normalizing that it's okay to have mental health needs, just like it's okay to have, heart disease needs or diabetes disease needs. It's where our body
Mhm.
is integrated both physically and mentally. So it's a wonderful change.
Yes, it's beautiful. Do you feel that, um, especially, I love the aspect of couples therapy, you
Mhm,
know, people talking out their problems, looking at it from their, from
mhm,
each other's perspective, and having a trained professional as well as an unbiased third party who doesn't have a dog in the fight,
right,
who listens
right.
to them. But
Mhm.
I always see, at least in the movies or the stories that I've heard, it's always the woman dragging the man to therapy. Have you seen a change in that as well?
Well, I think there is a change, all right, because I
Okay.
get contacted by men
Okay.
to say, my wife and I, my partner and I, we want to come into therapy.
Mhm.
And that has been a transition. I would say 5, 10 years ago, it would be
Mhm.
the female who would be initiating. And now it's the male who's making the call and doing the investigation and then going back to the woman and saying, I found this person or I've got two people we can choose from. So the guys are doing the research, which is a really good thing.
Oh, I like that. I like that because I believe in love. I believe in marriage. I believe we should do whatever we can to hold the family together, but making it a healthy
Mhm, mhm,
relationship. One of the things that I love to talk about is I say that I've always wanted to be one of those people who knew from the time that I was born what I wanted to
mhm.
do. And I always tell the story of my cousin Carrie. He's a news reporter in Columbus, Ohio.
Mhm.
And when Carrie was 9 years old, 8 years old, Carrie would walk around the house with a spoon and interview everyone.
That's great.
And there are people
That's
who
great.
always knew they were going to be singers or doctors or
Right.
that sort of thing. For you, first of all, did you know that you always wanted to go into psychology? And how did you wind up in this field?
I always wanted to be a math teacher.
Oh, what plot twist.
Yep. I was good at math,
Okay.
and I loved it, and so my goal was to teach high school math.
Oh, wow. How cool.
And so I was in college. I was in my junior year in college, and I had
Mhm,
set a goal for myself to finish college in 3 years. So I was on that track,
mhm.
and to finish college with a 4.0 average. And I was on
Okay.
that track. Everything was perking right along
Mhm.
until I ran into Calculus 2. And
Okay.
the teacher faced the blackboard, never turned around and talked to the class, wrote with her right hand, erased
Mhm,
with her left hand, filled
mhm,
the blackboard on the front,
mhm,
filled the blackboard on the side of the room. I mean,
mhm.
we were totally lost, every one
Wow.
of us, just totally lost. And I ended up getting a D in that class, which meant
Oh,
I didn't have to take it again, right?
okay.
And I was thrilled, but I was very clear that
Mhm,
math was not my future. And psychology was my minor. I took
Okay.
psychology because I just liked it, and it was a great break from the
Mhm.
rigors of math. So I just flipped my major and minor so I could still graduate in those 3 years that I had organized. And I've never looked back. I loved it. It was meant to be.
Mhm.
All right. So I hit a stop sign with math, and took an alternate path, and that's the path I should be on.
Now, Dr. Gloria, you said that you loved it, you enjoy psychology.
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you. I can't even think of a time when I've seen a therapist, but I do know that I think if I went to see a therapist, my therapist would be like, Sharifah, get your life together. Like, do you no, I really do. I really do. Because the thing I tell people, the things that never happen to anyone always seem to happen to me.
Mhm.
And I just could imagine, like, what is Dr. Gloria thinking? Like, is she thinking I need to grow up? Like, do you ever have those situations where you just really want to, like, just tell somebody, okay, look, like, how do you, I don't even know the question at this point. I'm
all,
intrigued.
all pieces of your life are connected,
Okay.
and your brain holds every piece of your life.
Hmm.
Everything, it's a marvelous organ, right?
Okay.
Everything you have ever experienced is recorded there. And these things that have happened to you in history, from
Mhm.
even in utero, we know that
Mhm.
infants have memories from the last trimester
Mhm.
in utero. And so all of that is packed into your brain. The
Okay.
key is, how do we access it?
Mhm.
And when you can access, let's say, some of the trauma experiences that
Mhm.
you have had in early childhood, they're up there in a box,
Mhm.
right? They jump into the present and kind of influence how you interact with the world around you every once in a while. You don't realize it's coming from that, but it really is. And if you can find that box in your mental attic
Mhm.
and open it in a safe way with a safe person, you can understand, oh, that's why I'm saying these things, or that's why I'm behaving that way, or that's why I'm avoiding this particular type of situation or
Mhm.
place, right? Everything's connected. Everything in our lives has a history to it. And if we can kind of trace that backwards and understand
Mhm.
why we're behaving, thinking, feeling in this way in the present, it has a history to it.
Mhm.
It's not magic, it
Mhm.
has a history to it, right? So
Mhm.
there's some intent there. We want to function to protect ourselves,
Mhm.
right? And to keep ourselves healthy, right? We all want to be connected with other people, but we
Right.
want to do that in a way that pleases us, nurtures us,
Mhm.
gives us positive energy, not
Mhm.
negative energy. But, because of our early histories, we get wrapped up in relationships that undermine us, that harm us, that
Mhm.
can be really difficult for us. So it's a puzzle,
Mhm.
right? It's like following the breadcrumbs,
Mhm.
the kid story of the
Yes. Hansel and Gretel.
went into the woods, right?
Yes.
It's following the breadcrumbs back to the understanding of, how did I end up with this particular behavior, with this thought pattern, with this fear
Mhm.
that now keeps me from being kind of a more whole human being. And once you find that path, it's real easy, right? Things
Mhm.
just kind of melt away.
I still think you wouldn't want me as a patient, Dr. Gloria. I would probably just irritate you because I'll be like, am I cured, Dr. Gloria? Am I cured? Like, can you fix me? Is there help for me? Can you cure me?
All of that curiosity would be of great value.
How long do people see you usually, typically?
It varies, all
Okay.
right? Sometimes it could be a single session,
Okay.
And sometimes it could be a process that takes months or takes a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people engage in therapy, get a successful outcome, their life changes dramatically, they go off for a very long time, and then they run into something else.
Okay.
Right? And they'll come back into therapy and say, life has been great for me for the last 5 or 6 years, but
Mm-hmm.
now I'm facing this particular challenge, and boy, it is just uprooting everything. So it varies, runs the
That
gamut.
that's very interesting. And when I saw your information and I read your website and I went through your profile, it was one question that just popped out, and I was just dying to ask you this question. I'm a reader, right? I'm a third generation reader. My mom taught me, my grandmother
Mhm.
read with my mother. And I've been reading for at least 30 years.
Yeah.
And one thing that I found as a reader is that, and I'm pretty sure you won't believe this, Dr. Gloria, but sometimes people lie to me, right?
Mhm.
I'll ask a question, and somewhere during the course of the reading, I won't necessarily tell them, but I'll note it in my mind. I'm like,
Mhm.
I just asked them if they went left, and they told me they went right. And now they're telling me the story of how they went right. And I'm
Mhm.
like, but they just said they went left. Like,
Mhm.
I'm like, but what I feel about that is when I read for people, their reading is not about me. It's not going to affect me. I'm
Mhm.
working with them to help and hopefully provide some clarity to their lives. Have
Mhm.
you ever worked with people when you just notice, especially people you work with over a long period of time, you're like, okay, when they came to me in 2020, they told me they're a doctor. Now, I won't even say doctor because people
Right.
change careers. But
Mhm.
in 2020, they told me that, they never want to leave the house. And now, 5 years later, their story is, I love leaving the house. I always want to leave the house. Like, do you ever notice those things?
Well, what you're asking is how dramatic a change can
Okay.
happen for any human being.
Okay.
All right. And dramatic changes can happen for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sometimes we'll come across a person who has a very difficult history of abuse.
Okay.
All right. And so they have limited their interactions with the world around them in
Mm.
order to create safety for
Okay.
themselves. But if you can expand that safety zone, you can make a dramatic difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's the person who doesn't want to leave their home or leave their apartment because that's their safe zone,
Mm-hmm.
and they have created a sense of real comfort. But that safe zone and the comfort that they've created has a history to it,
Okay.
right? That just didn't come up automatically. It has a history to it. And if you can understand that history, you can expand your safety zone,
Mm-hmm.
right? So now you could go out, um, enjoy taking a walk, uh,
Mm-hmm.
begin to meet other people, challenge yourself to do new things.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be able to follow the history thread
Mm-hmm.
back to its source so that you can make a choice between, do I stay with the system that I've been using, or do I develop a new system?
But you help them develop that new system.
Absolutely. And often that new system has been sitting there all along,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of been in their brain all along, but it's always been, oh, but I can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'd love to fill in the blank, but no, I can't do that. And then so the path was already there. You just had to give yourself permission to take it.
Do you ever feel, and this is again, I'm trying to, relate because I think in a certain kind of way, a lot of times that's what I'm doing is just helping people because they need someone to talk to. But for me, sometimes it can be very difficult to turn off Do you ever feel in your own personal life it's an aspect of yourself that you have to consciously turn off?
I think a lot of therapists will tell you that they have that struggle. I do not.
You just turn
I
it
do
off.
not. I do not. I have so much confidence
Okay.
in the capability of people to
Mhm.
do the work, right? To understand themselves, to figure out those pathways
Mhm.
that I know what my role is,
Okay.
right? My role is to work with them during the scheduled time that we're doing work.
Mhm.
But my role is not to carry them around with me the
Mhm.
rest of the day or the rest of the week. All right. They're out there doing the work. I'm not doing the work for them. I can't do
Right.
the work for them. So I have to trust that they're doing the work. They're doing the work at the pace that works for them. And eventually there will be progress, there will be change. So, no, I don't have that issue, but I know a lot of therapists do. They carry, it's like they wear them, right? You
Mhm.
would think of them as sticky notes, right? And they just wear them all the time.
Mhm.
Not an issue for me.
Well, that's good. That to me talks about a lot of clarity. But do you often find yourself, or do you have a challenge when you're talking to people outside of the office? Maybe you're talking to your family or your friends, and maybe your friends say something that is, you know, a little interesting to you. Do you go into therapist mode outside of the office?
Typically not,
Hmm.
right? And historically, right, when you're meeting new people and you tell them that you're a psychologist or a therapist, there is a pattern that people stop talking to you because they fear that.
Right.
Right? And some people will even say, "Oh, are you analyzing me right now?"
Right. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And I'm thinking, I'm a human being, right?
First.
I'm
Right.
not a psychological robot.
Mhm.
I'm a human being, right? And I'm here at this party to have a nice time, to interact with people, to
Mhm.
develop conversation, all right? I'm not analyzing anybody in
Mhm.
the room, and I don't want you to relate to me as
Mhm.
though I'm some kind of a psychological robot.
Hmm. That's an interesting way to look at it, because I'm like, is Dr. Gloria analyzing me right now? Is she about to tell the world Sharifah needs a lot of therapy?
That's a frustration for me.
No, no. You seem like someone I could just talk to for hours, and that you will really
That's great.
understand
That's
what
great.
I'm going through. But how I want to ask this, how do you relax? How do you, I mean, because you listen to people. You spend a lot of time listening to people and their
Mhm,
challenges and their phobias and the things that they're going through. At
mhm.
the end of the day, 5 p.m., you're off work or whatever your office hours are. Do you feel that you need to just woo-saw and lift your own spirits to get out of that mode?
Not really. I love the work that I do,
That's
but I also love other things in
mhm,
my life, right? I like to write,
okay.
so I do a lot of writing.
Mhm,
I like to paint, so I do watercolor painting as often as I possibly can. I love music, so I like to go listen to music and play music. I'm just a normal human being with
Dr. Gloria.
a variety of interests.
Dr. Gloria is a party lady. She out there
Just a,
making it happen.
just a regular person.
I love it. That is so beautiful. I, I I think so often when people are in certain fields, we put them on pedestals and
Right.
we forget
Well,
that they're
we're in
human.
cubby holes, right? We put them in these tiny little cubby holes.
Mhm.
That's all that they could possibly be.
Right.
We narrow them into a tiny slot, into a little box.
Okay. So can people utilize your services globally, nationally? What does that look like?
They really can, right? I'm happy to do a consult with anybody, any place in the world, right? The book that I've recently published is available all over the world. So anybody that's making use of that
Hmm.
and wants to do some follow up with the insights that they are coming up with or the struggles that they're noticing that the book is challenging them to take more seriously, I'm happy to talk with anyone. And for therapy, I am licensed in Washington, D.C. and the state of Maryland. So if you want to engage in therapy, use your insurance for reimbursement, those are the two geographic locations that I can work.
Well, I was born in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now in California. But let's talk about the book. We haven't even mentioned the book. What is tell us about this book?
This is a journal book.
Okay.
I write a blog, so I've taken 52 of these essays, put them together in a book. The book is called Read, Reflect, Respond, The
Mhm.
Three R's of Growth and Change. I'll show you its cover. There's its cover. Very pretty. And the interesting part about this book is that it's different from any other journal book that you've used. Most journal books have things that you read, and then they have questions and lines where you're supposed to write your reflections and write your answers. Not true here. There's the essay, there's the blank page. The page is blank for a good reason. As I said earlier, we have memories that go all the way back to the third trimester in utero. All right. You didn't have language then. All right. You're 2, 3, you have very little language at
Right.
that point. All right. We store information in terms of language, in terms of actions, and in terms of feelings.
Okay.
So the blank page allows you to tap into those other storage units. Yes, you could write responses on the blank page. But if something gets triggered in you when you read that essay, that is just powerful emotion, right? You can use that page, right? To scribble, to draw. You could tear the page. I tell people you'd have to put it back together to read the essay on the other side. But you get to tap into more core information about yourself. And that discovery is incredibly valuable for all of us because we do store pieces of history in ways other than language. And when I can tap into that,
Hmm.
then I can use my language to be more interested in
Hmm.
that piece of history. But when my body tells me that there's an experience that I had as a toddler
Right.
that is powerfully influencing me in the present, I want to be able to access it. And I can't access it if I just have lines on the page where I have to write. But if I can draw or scribble, I can access those pieces of my history. So that's why the page is blank.
So, what type of reviews have you received on your book? Because that's interesting. I've never heard of anything like that.
Yeah, so you could go take a look. The book's available on Amazon, and Amazon has reader reviews where people post their reactions to
Hmm.
it. It's getting very nice, very positive reviews. One,
I
in
can
fact,
imagine.
that says typically, she'll put a journal book in a drawer,
Hmm.
buy it with good intent, but not really continue to make use of it. And
Right.
one says, this one I'm making use of.
Hmm. That's beautiful. That is definitely beautiful. I love what you're doing. I love people in general who are there to be of service to mankind.
Hmm.
And I am a strong advocate of therapy. Two reasons, like I said earlier, because you are a trained professional. You're trained to be of service and you're trained to look for different things,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also an unbiased third person.
Right.
And so often when we, especially with relationships and we're going through relationship challenges, we don't have someone who can speak to us about how to make things work, couples coming together,
Mhm.
because maybe the only person that she talks to is her mom, so
Right.
mom is going to have a bias towards
Mhm.
her even if she likes him,
That's true.
or dad,
Right.
he always talks to his mom. But
Mhm.
but when you can go together and talk to someone whose their main goal is really to be objective and to
Mhm.
help both of you work together, I think that's a beautiful thing.
It is. You get to see yourself in a new way,
Hmm.
because you're right. The people are in your life on a day to day, week to week, month to month basis. They have their perspective
Hmm.
on what they like about you, what they like about anybody that you're in relationship with. They have a bias.
Right.
I don't have that bias. I
Yeah.
can help you to see yourself, to see the other in ways maybe that you never had an opportunity to look at that person or to experience them.
Right. And not only that, but you don't, some things that you want to share, you don't want to have to look at this person over Thanksgiving dinner and they
Right.
know all of your, innermost thoughts or what you're going through in your relationship. You just want to sometimes keep
Yeah,
that outside.
there's safety. There's real safety in therapy. There really is.
I think that's beautiful because as a reader, I think I experience a lot of the same thing.
Hmm.
Sometimes I feel like people will ask me questions and they will tell me things that they may not want their family to know. So,
Hmm.
you know,
I'm sure that's true.
yes. So that's one of the reasons why I love reading, is because I love to be of service to people.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so we're going to see what's going on with you, Dr. Gloria. We're going to give you a reading, okay?
That would be great.
Have you had a reading before?
I have not.
Oh, so this is going to be interesting and this is going to be a lot of fun. While we've been talking, I've been shuffling the cards,
I've
shuffling the
noticed.
cards. Oh, yeah. See, shuffling the cards does a couple of different things. Number one, it's my sign to spirit that I'm about to do a reading. Number two, it allows me to clear any energy from anybody prior to you, but it just also allows me to concentrate and to just focus on your
Hmm.
energy while you're speaking. It gives me a direction to focus my energy. And I always ask people if they've ever had a reading before because every reader is different. And I think I'm probably one of the most different readers.
Okay.
One of the reasons I wanted to do the show is I wanted to demystify to a certain extent this whole idea about reading, because I think in this industry, people have really kind of put out the message that they're special or they're the only ones that can do it. I've spent the last 30 years studying the cards. So a
Hmm.
lot of it is more than just me just tuning in to Dr. Gloria, and what comes out is what these cards and these signs and these symbols mean to me. So I was just always ask spirit for a sign and symbol that gives you the message that you want to hear.
Okay.
Plus, I spend a lot of time explaining the cards. I always recommend to people, even when I'm doing live readings, that they write down at the very least the card that I pull, because
Uh-huh.
some people do like to Google the card. Maybe there's an extensive meaning message that I didn't go into, but that's
Hmm.
the message you were meant to hear. So we ready?
Ready.
We're gonna have some fun, Dr. Gloria.
Good.
I love reading. So the first card is always your issue, right? Your
Okay.
issue. So this is the main theme that's running through your life right now. And the
Okay.
main theme that you have, Dr. Gloria, is the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is a very good sign because the Two of Pentacles is about juggling resources,
Uh-huh.
right? So, for someone who's good at juggling resources, this is a very good sign, especially
Okay.
as the issue. This is my for lack of a better term, rob Peter to pay Paul card. It means that I'm taking from one thing to give it to another thing, and then you're moving money and you're moving resources around. So it's
Okay.
really about juggling resources, but it's
Uh-huh.
a good sign for somebody who knows how to juggle. Now, if you don't know how to juggle, but it's what they call a minor arcana card. Minor arcana, arcana means change. So
Okay.
you either have major changes in your life. Major changes are things that change the course of history. These are your births, your deaths, your
Mm-hmm.
marriages, and your divorces, right? So these are major shifts where life will never be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Minor arcana cards are minor changes. These
Okay.
are things that will affect you today, 2, 3, 10, 20 years from now. You're not even going to remember this. So you received a 2. 2 is minor arcana. So I always think about it as that customer service email or text that we all receive, right? I'm sure you
Mm-hmm.
received one where they say on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you consider our service? Is it excellent? Does it need improvement?
Right.
We all get those. Those are minor arcana cards. So you received a 2 on your scale, 10 being completion. 2 means you're just going out in this experience, right?
Mhm.
So there are some challenges ahead, but the good thing, again, is that if you know how to play with money and juggle those coins, you're going to figure it out, because the challenge for your issue is the 2 of swords.
Okay.
2 of swords. So pinnacles are, people say that pinnacles are money. They're not necessarily money, they're the physical manifestation of your situation. So when I was running for politics and people say, I love you, Sharifah, I believe in you, I support you, I said, good. I need the physical manifestation of that support, right?
Very good.
I need that check.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't always mean receiving money. It just means the physical aspects. Like if somebody receives a house, they may not have received the money to get the house, but they received the house.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 of swords, and you have right now 2 twos,
Mm-hmm.
minor arcana, which means these aren't minor shifts in your life. Swords are thoughts. Swords are ideas. Swords are information. So
Okay.
the 2 of swords symbolizes choices. So these are minor choices that you might have to make today. Again, this may be the choice of how you spend the money,
Mm-hmm.
how you juggle those resources, where you put your attention to, where you put your resources to, because life is about choices and consequences.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always say. So the next card that you have is the Empress. The Empress.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. The Emperor. I done said it 5 times, but it's the Emperor. Emperor, not Empress. The
Okay.
Emperor. So the Emperor is a major arcana card. So on this journey, the Emperor, all of the major arcana cards teach us a specific lesson, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the Emperor is the one who comes out and rules. The Emperor is the ruler. The Emperor is the one who brings order. He's the one who comes into empty land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Land, and creates the structure. He creates the trains and the street lights. He puts everything together. So
Okay.
this is about control and being the ruler in your own life. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a major lesson that sometimes we do need to learn. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next card that you have is the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles.
Okay.
Ace of Pentacles, Dr. Gloria, is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sign for me.
Okay.
Even though it is a minor arcana card, aces are is the 0, right? So 0 symbolizes exactly what you were talking about before when we talk about those things that we get in utero, right? So a baby before it's born has the full potential to be anything. It
Mhm.
hasn't been born yet. It could come out and it could be the president of the United States. It could come out and it could be a psychologist. It could come
Mhm.
out and it could be a criminal, right?
Right.
Once it goes into one specific direction and becomes tangible, it's actually less powerful because it's now finite.
Mhm.
It now becomes something. So the Ace of Pentacles, again, Pentacles being the physical manifestation of that situation, means that there's unlimited potential, which is beautiful with especially the Two of Pentacles, is
Mhm.
that if you're juggling those resources, you have unlimited potential for what you can create and what you can manifest in your life,
Mhm. Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
the other aspect of the Ace of Pentacles is the Ace of Pentacles has one coin on its card. So whenever I see the Ace of Pentacles, that's my sign for seed money, right?
Okay.
So even with a business owners understand what seed money is. That's
Absolutely.
like somebody's not going to be like, Dr. Gloria, here's $50 million.
Right.
Go
Mhm.
run away with it. No,
Mhm.
but you may get the seed money to be able to go and create and expand. This is about investing. This is
Mhm.
about the seed investments that we put into our life, our relationships, our businesses.
Mhm.
This to me is about maybe there's a tool. I always use the example of Chat GPT. I
Mhm.
love Chat GPT. It's at chatgpt.com. And no, I don't get money back for advertising. So but it's a great example because it's a $20 investment that you put in your business or your life in
Mhm.
general, but it pays dividends on the back end and
Mhm.
on in the long haul is
Long
what they
run.
in the long. Thank you, Dr.
Mhm.
Gloria. You're just so
Mhm.
helpful.
Mhm.
It's about those little things that you do now that help you in the long run.
That's great.
So it is great. The next card that you have is the Nine of Swords. Nine of Swords. Okay.
And
Nine
what
of
does it
Swords.
mean?
So sometimes I have songs, sometimes I have stories associated with the cards, but the greatest feeling that I can tap into with the Nine of Swords is Mariah Carey used to have a song, and the lyrics to that song was it was a love story. And she said, I know you think my love is slipping away, but baby, it's all in your mind. So the Nine of Swords is about fears that are unreal, false evidence appearing real.
Mhm.
So whatever anxiety, sleepless nights, fears, anything like that that you might have. And I know Dr. Gloria sleeps the sleep of the innocent, but whatever happened, and I always tell people there may have been, it could have been catastrophic loss in the
Mhm.
past,
Mhm.
right? But that's the past.
Mhm.
Those things are not happening now. Those things are not going to happen again. You're past those situations. So even with the Two of Pentacles and juggling resources and getting small investments, sometimes we want to grow our business. Sometimes we want our book to sell 100 million copies, right? And we're like, I don't know if it's going to sell that many or everybody's going to buy it, right? Don't worry. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to worry about. Life is good. Okay.
Great.
And not only is life good, the next card that you have is the Ten of Cups, which actually just confirmed and re-emphasized what I was saying, because the Ten of Cups is my happily ever after card.
Well,
It
that's
is. Yes. So tens, like our survey, is about completion. Is about we've reached a certain level of happiness. We've reached a certain level of fulfillment. We've reached a certain level of joy. But when you look at numerology and you add numbers together to reduce them to their lowest base number, 1 and 0 is 1, right? So
mhm.
that means that this journey that we're on, this level of fulfillment, this level of happiness, we still have to step out there and go on the journey again. We still have
Mhm.
to keep going because, as you know, I know you're not in your 20s anymore, Dr. Gloria.
That's
Back
right.
then, back then, we thought this is it. Now we learn that you go through, life is cyclical. You go through a lot of different challenges, but life is good. This is about time of
Mhm.
contentment, a time of happiness, a time of wonderful. Because the next card that you have is the Page of Cups.
Okay.
Page of Cups.
Okay.
So Page of Cups is a beautiful sign as well. Back in the days of the kings and queens, the king never left the throne. His job, he had one job while he was ruling the world, is
Mhm.
to sit on the throne. So if he wanted his horse, if he wanted to do whatever, he always sent the page,
Mhm.
because the king didn't have a cell phone, Dr. Gloria. He
That's
he,
right.
he couldn't make a phone call and say, "Bring me my horse."
He had a
So
page.
yes. So pages are always messages,
Okay.
messages, right?
Okay.
The pages deliver messages. And so the Page of Cups always delivers messages of love, messages of well-being, messages that all is well. So that's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sign. Nothing to worry about, juggling resources, getting a little bit of money. And this is the next card is the Eight of Wands.
Okay.
Eight
Now,
of
Rita,
Wands.
I need to let you know I do have a hard stop at 11 for a client. Are we
We wrapping it up.
okay?
Eight of Wands. Eight
Okay.
of Wands is my opportunity card. That means that we that new opportunities are on their way to you. So
That's
that's
great.
beautiful. That's beautiful. And the beautiful thing about the Eight of Wands is there's nothing you have to do. Those opportunities are already on their way. They're in the air. All you have to do is receive, because the next card that you have is the World. And
Wow.
the world, especially with the Ten of Cups, tells me about completion. The fool's journey starts with the fool and it ends with the world. And once you get to the world, which is completion, you start over again as the fool. So, whatever you've been going through, this is about completion,
Uh-huh.
ending this cycle. Whatever it is, this cycle is complete. So now it's time to move out there,
That's
and your
great.
final outcome at the end of the day is the Two of Cups. Two of
Okay.
Cups. So we start with your main issue, your main theme, which is the Two of Pentacles. And in this, you've had three twos. So twos are usually about new beginnings. The Two
Okay.
of Cups is about partnerships, right? Because the Ace of Cups, which we didn't get, but the Ace of Cups is about self love, falling in love with self. And you can't, work with, partner, deal with anyone else until you understand who you are. So this is always a sign to work with other people, to
Wow. That's
partner
great.
with other people and
Mhm.
grow and multiply what you have. Do you have
That's
any questions? Does that resonate with you, Dr. Gloria?
it's wonderful. Yes, and it fits kind of where I am, where I want to go, and what's happening in my life. It's a great fit.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I do not. This is lovely.
Okay. That's wonderful. We are coming down to the last few seconds of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just simply allow my guests to speak directly to the audience, to everyone who is watching this show live, as well as everyone who is watching it in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance here today.
I would like everyone to appreciate that the future is ahead of you and you can influence that and change that by understanding yourself. So, get a copy of my book so that it can facilitate that understanding. And thank you for today.
You are so welcome. I want to thank you, Dr. Gloria, for joining me on today's episode of Read Me Live. I also want to thank everyone who tuned in to watch the show live and everyone who's watching it in the archives. If you want to be right there where Dr. Gloria is, visit my website at readmelive.com. Until next time, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.